Hello, today we're going to make homemade cinnamon rolls. In our bowl, we have 5 tablespoons of butter that we've melted. And to our bowl, we're going to add 1 cup of warm milk, about 115 degrees. And to our warm milk and our warm butter, we're going to add 2½ teaspoons of quick rise yeast. The warm milk and the warm butter will activate our yeast. So we're going to add 2, just sprinkle it over the top. That's 1, 2 and a half. Teaspoons of yeast. We're going to mix this up. Get the yeast real blended in. Okay, now that we have our yeast mixed into our warm milk and our warm butter, we're going to add 2 eggs, 2 large eggs at room temperature. ½ cup of sugar. We're going to add ½ teaspoon of salt. Now we're going to mix all this together. This is for our dough, for our homemade cinnamon rolls. Okay, now we're going to start adding our flour. We're going to mix 1 cup in at a time. That's 1 cup. That's 2 cups. This is 3 cups. It's 4 cups. So we've already put 4 cups of flour, and this is 3/4 of a cup. I'm going to scrape the flour from the sides of the bowl. Got to get the flour from the bottom of the bowl also. 4. There we go. Our dough ball is forming. The total of 5 cups of flour and 1/4. Okay, it's perfect. It's going to be a little sticky, but we're going to roll it out on the counter on some flour to make our cinnamon rolls. Make sure we knead it enough for about 4 minutes. Okay, now we're going to get the counter ready to roll our dough out. Okay, now that we have our counter floured down good, we're going to take our dough and we're going to pour it out of our bowl onto our counter. Okay, now we're going to put a little bit of flour on top of our dough. And on our rolling pin. Now we're going to roll our dough out to make our cinnamon rolls. We want to make at least 12 cinnamon rolls. So we want to roll it out kind of thin. That way we can have a lot of cinnamon throughout every layer. Kind of rectangle shape is what we're after. All right, perfect. Our dough is ready. Okay, for our filling for our cinnamon rolls in the bowl, I have 11 tablespoons of butter. To it, we're going to add 2.5 tablespoons of cinnamon, brown sugar packed, 1 cup of brown sugar, and 1/4. 1 1/4 cups of brown sugar packed. We're going to mix this all together in our bowl. Make sure all of it's blended well. Now we're going to add this, our cinnamon roll dough. So we're just going to take it and we're going to smear it all over. Make sure you get it all the way to the edges. Okay, now we're gonna roll our cinnamon rolls. You just start with a little bit. And then you just keep rolling. The dough may stick a little bit, but you just go slow. And it comes up off the counter pretty easy. I kind of push the ends in to make it even with the rest of the roll. Okay. We have it all rolled up. Now I always get the measuring tape out and measure it and see how long it is and divide it by 12 to get 12 rolls. So we'll get the measuring tape right now. Okay, so we have our cinnamon roll here. I kind of pushed in the edges to make them the same width as the center, because sometimes the edges, they're smaller. So if you just kind of push them in, then they get about the same. So we got about 22 inches of cinnamon rolls. So we're making 12. So a little less than 2 inches each. So what I usually do is take a thin knife, a thin bladed knife, and then I'll put the measuring tape and kind of measure. And then I'll look at it. Okay, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, we ended up with 13, and that's okay. This one I find is a little too big on the end, so we'll go over a little bit. So let me get my pan out. Okay, this is our 9 by 13 stone, pan for chef stone. And this is the pan I always cook them in. So we're gonna spray the bottom and the sides with cooking spray so they don't stick. And how about that? I measured 22 inches, and if you figure half of 22 inches would be 11. And I did them every 2 inches, a little less than every 2 inches, and I came out with 13. Isn't God good? He gave us an extra cinnamon roll. Okay, we're gonna place our cinnamon rolls in our pan, and we don't want them to touch because they're gonna rise and they're gonna fill up the pan. Okay, the ones right in the middle are just a little bit thicker. So we can kind of scoot them around. Okay. Let's see, we have two more, we can fit them in here. They're just gonna all rise out and up. So I wound up with 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, they're just gonna rise up if they don't have enough room in between. So now we're gonna put them in a warm place and we're gonna let them rise. If you have one of these, it works good to scrape up the extra flour off your counter when you're done with the cinnamon rolls. Then you just come over with the towel and wipe it and you're all clean. All right, these are the cinnamon rolls. I've been having them in the warmer and they are risen well. Put them in the oven. We're gonna bake them at 350 degrees. And before we do that, we're gonna put our heavy whipping cream, 2/3 of a cup, we're gonna pour over the top. Okay, we're gonna bake them for 25 to 27 minutes, and when they come out, we'll look at them and see what they look like. Now that was 2/3 cup of heavy whipping cream. You just pour that right over the top of the cinnamon rolls before you put them in the oven. Okay, today we have our cinnamon rolls in the oven. They're fixing to come out, and we're gonna make the icing before they're ready. This is 6 ounces of cream cheese in the bowl, and we're gonna add 1/3 cup of butter, and we're gonna blend them together. Mix them together in the bowl. And we're also gonna add a teaspoon of maple flavoring. And we're gonna cream this together, and this is gonna be our frosting. Make sure you scrape the sides of the bowl real well. Okay, the frosting is done. Now we're just gonna wait for our cinnamon rolls to come out the oven, and we'll put the frosting on top. Okay, it's been 27 minutes and the cinnamon rolls are done. Just took them out of the oven. And I always put the icing on right away when they come out. That way it'll melt a little bit and sink down into the cinnamon rolls. So we're gonna put our icing on our cinnamon rolls. You don't have to, you can take them out one at a time and put the icing on as they come out, as you take them out of the pan. This is just how I always do it. You can't always tell where the cinnamon rolls are because the icings are kind of thick. So we just cut us a piece, and they are super delicious. Moist. My son-in-law said they're better than Cinnabon. But be your own judge and make your own cinnamon rolls and try them and see how you like them. So it kind of almost looks like a cake by the time you put the icing on. I'm gonna put the icing on, and then I'm gonna let it cool down just a little bit, and then we'll cut one out and take a picture of them. So that's the cinnamon rolls. Yum, I can't wait. They smell delicious.